Good evening and welcome. We are here for round 14 for the Crossplay 2 division as we get towards the back end of the championship. Joining me for a one night only, it is XP2 Ferrari driver who isn't there tonight. Hasmania, welcome in. What are we expecting ahead of tonight's Grand Prix?
Well, first off, good evening to you, Ricky Cardo. I'm doing well. I think we are in for an exciting race here in Abu Dhabi, as is not always the case in terms of real life F1. It's been a bit of a samey circuit over the past few years, but I have a feeling that with this grid and with quite a lot at stake, I think we're in for a very interesting race.
Well, absolutely. 16 turns covered by 3.2 miles of asphalt. 2 DRS zones, of course, will be the main overtaking positions. But again, this track, we've seen it with Verstappen on Hamilton into the hairpin. Definitely a place where these drivers can attack and certainly get a good run down towards the chicane.
Yeah, it certainly is. I hope you don't mind if I go over the standings while we just get ready for qualifying. Is that all right?
Absolutely. Crack on.
Well, I'll start with the driver standings. We have PW Jones leading with 183 points following a third place finish last race. And following from him in P2, we have Brisson with 112 points. In third, my favourite, no, let's not say favourite teammate, my favourite Ferrari teammate, Cornish Cook on 95 points. And Hako in P4 with 94 points. Cornish Mantis, the other Cornish cousin, is in P5 with 57 points, followed fairly closely by Almanac on 53. And then we have Andre in 7th with 46 points. And tied for 8th and 9th, we have Kierbo and Orlando on 45 points. And rounding out the top 10 in the driver standings, we have CRL Pipe Tech on 34 points. And moving on to the constructor standings, in first place we have Williams on a very strong 264 points, followed not too closely by Red Bull on 176, and then in third place we have Alpine with 145. Ferrari, the best team of course, on 126 points in fourth. Haas with 118 in 5th, McLaren with 116 in 6th, AlphaTauri on 91, Aston Martin on 87, Alfa Romeo on 72, and Mercedes, unfortunately, at the bottom of the field, trailing on 62 points.
Yeah, well, it's been a mixed bag pretty much all season, but we are starting to get a few reliable team lineups, and it definitely shows with 19 drivers out of a possible 20 heading towards round 14. Of course, only 5 more tracks to go after this. As you said, PW Jones looking good for the title, but he's still got to remain consistent. He's still got to deliver the goods on the track, and there's some good drivers out there who could definitely challenge. Almost certainly. Let's not forget Elliot Noren, who, like you said, won last week's Grand Prix in Hungary.
Yeah, he's PW Jones. He does have a fairly strong lead, but unfortunately he's still unable to mathematically claim the championship, so it's going to be up to these last 4 or 5 races to really solidify his grasp on that title. But I fancy his chances. I think he'll have a good race tonight.
Yeah, well, somebody who is certainly coming towards a bit of form is Hilly, and he's had a bit of time away. He's recently rejoined the league as a racer, and I mean, within the first week he was already in XP2 as a reserve. Now he's a full-time driver in the Haas. He actually has a new teammate in, I don't know how we're going to pronounce this, Mayalos, I think that's it, who replaces Raptor, who has been demoted to reserve, despite showing up for majority, well, I say the majority, certainly the first half, he was certainly ever present. However, in recent weeks, not so much, as Hilly's coming through Sector 3 and will be the first driver on the track to set a time. In terms of time, lap time, what are we expecting? What can we expect for pole time? I mean, ultimately, you want to be on the front row or as high as you can, but Hilly, a 24-1. I mean, instantly I'm thinking low 23s.
Well, I'm definitely not the person to ask about that. I haven't done any practice on this track, not for a long time at least. aside from that one anomaly of a lap I had when the time trials got reset and I claimed the 82nd spot in the world. But aside from that, I'm not quite sure what to expect aside from predicted front runners, which I would say is our championship favourite, PW Jones, and I would fancy Ecos Hawkey's chances to get up there as well. Like you said, Hilly is not a new racer to this league. He's almost a veteran, but they had a strong showing last week in Hungary with a 10th and 7th finish respectively. That's some good points considering they're the new kids on the block, if you will.
Absolutely, and we do have, in fact, quite a few reserves tonight. I think we've got 4 or 5 reserves, as Almanac goes quickest with a 24.028, and that'll put him at just about a tenth and a half ahead of the house. Of course, the track will ramp up. It will get a lot quicker as they lay down the rubber on the track. So all these times that we're seeing at the minute won't be too important going through the remaining sort of 10 minutes or so. As eBird has, in fact, unfortunately left the session. I wonder if he can get in. Hawkey puts himself into P5. Let's go on board with Mantis. As we love watching pit entrances. So yeah, unfortunate timing of going on board, actually. He's just entered the pit lane, so it's Kiabo in the Williams. A strong Williams pairing, it must be said, between himself and PW Jones. Kiabo, for me, has been, although the results might not suggest it, I think he's been one of the most impressive drivers this season, and certainly improved a lot.
Well, yeah, I definitely agree with you there. There's a reason why the Williams pairing are topping the constructor standings. They're a rapid duo indeed. If you watch some of the XP2 races earlier in the season, they have been caught up in a few incidents, which I think I should remain impartial to, because I think I was involved in one of them as well. But they're definitely very quick drivers, and they deserve to be topping the constructor standings so far.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if I should take this too seriously, but we are getting some little murmurs that there is a 20% chance of some rain. I'm not too sure if they're just pulling my leg or what, but apparently there is 20%. So, I mean, that would just be amazing to see around this track. I think it would certainly throw a spanner into the works. And yeah, we got Vapes, who has been quick since he's joined the league. He's retired on a 24.2. I mean, that's not a good time to retire with a time like that.
No, it seems like that's almost a bit of an anomaly there. It's certainly not going to put him in the top 10. I don't feel like that would be the case. Almanac just setting the fastest lap with a 1:24 dead. He's set a faster lap than PW Jones and Hilly as well. That's a rather strong lap from him. We'll just see how the times tumble as we get further into this session. But following from what you said before, with a chance of rain, I for one hope we see full wets throughout. I think that would make for a very entertaining race.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would have an Abu Dhabi wet setup, so it would be quite the spectacle. As we are on board with AJ, who is in the Mercedes for tonight. He is, of course, reserving. He's managed to get the night off, and here he is. Currently P18, coming up to a bit of traffic. You might have to navigate, although there is quite some distance, and I just wonder if there's enough distance. As I say that, he's just invalidated, and I just wonder if that was a case of some dirty air there, or just driver error. But either way, it'll be a quick stroll to the pit lane and put on a new set of boots and get ready for a new lap. I mean, just around this track, I feel like it's so important to get a banker. It's really a track where you definitely grow into the lap.
Yeah, it most certainly is. It's a race of track limits almost. And AJ is a very quick driver indeed, and I've had a very stern warning not to mention him too much. Oh, and you see Cagnis just spinning in the final sector there, what's been aptly named the car park of Abu Dhabi. The great car park of Abu Dhabi, with those extremely tight corners, and it's very hard to pass through there, even despite all the changes that happened a couple years ago. And he's just getting out of the way there for the Red Bull, looking to start the lap, I assume. But yeah, it's a very, very technical circuit, I think would be the appropriate terminology. It's not every driver's favourite circuit, but it certainly is one of mine. It's a very fun racing track because, you, believe it or not, you can actually pass when you get into those 2 DRS zones with those almost kilometre-long back straights, separated by that very tight chicane, which does allow for some fantastic racing, and hopefully we'll see that in the near future. I've just noticed BTA Andy is out on the mediums, and he's set a 24.5. I don't believe that's going to be all too competitive, but it's good to see that someone's out here trying something new.
I think that's actually a hell of a time, to be fair, around this track on the medium compound. I think that's extremely competitive at this point of the qualifying. But yeah, the track itself, some big, in my opinion, upgrades. I think the sector that we're on board with STLR now, I think that's a big improvement. I think the end of Sector 1 is also a massive improvement. So I think the track itself is a lot better than what it was in sort of 2020, and certainly allows for a bit more wheel-to-wheel racing.
Yeah, it's certainly made for better racing, but I mean, I've always had a soft spot for the old Abu Dhabi, made even more prevalent due to the changes. We may not ever see the old configuration back again, but I can't imagine a lot of drivers would miss the old layout, if I'm being honest. It was certainly a Marmite track. You either love it or you hate it.
And the OG has overstepped the white line, and that is, I mean, Mercedes don't like this place, do they? And I gotta say, as an avid Ferrari fan of 26 years, I absolutely love to see it.
Yeah, Mercedes, it's not their favourite track, especially considering the results a few years ago. And obviously in the championship as well, they've been plagued a little bit with their results. They are last in the constructors, but hopefully with STLR and AJ, we should see a nice... Oh, I'm just seeing AJ with no front wing. Maybe I should shut up and... Oh, there he goes. Oh, yeah. He's very lucky to not retire there. Slamming into the wall at approximately 80 miles an hour. He is one lucky boy not to retire there. But as I was saying before, it's a strong Mercedes lineup, and we should hopefully see them get some solid points.
There we go. Andy improves his time by 6 tenths. Of course, he did go 1 compound softer than his first run, and it just shows you he's on the pace. Somebody else on the pace is Ecos Hawkey, because he's gone, I think, a couple of attempts quicker through Sector 2, and this is going to put him towards the front row, at least provisionally, until these drivers get through their second runs. Of course, 3 runs, probably about the maximum you can do here at Abu Dhabi. It is quite a slow outlap, you know, because of the tyre degradation, the tyre temps. You don't really want to be pushing on an outlap. As Ecos Hawkey does, I mean, he does improve, but I think he'll be a little bit disappointed with that. P5 for now.
Yeah, it just seems like we might see a few discrepancies in the timing charts, but BTA Andy with a very strong lap indeed, for only person actually into the 23s. You just wonder who else might break that 1 minute 23 boundary.
I think given that a lot of these drivers have done a 24-1 on their first runs, I think we'll see quite a few. But BTA Andy, who is only reserving tonight, he evidently only sort of come across from F2 into F1, I think this week. But instantly showing that he's on the pace, and it's good to see that he isn't too quick, but he isn't obviously at the back either, so a good mixture.
Yeah, it's with a lap time like that, it's certainly going to make the race for the win a lot more exciting. If not least of which, the podium might actually be disrupted a little bit. We might see some new people on the podium tonight, which is always a good sign. Well, we are doing interviews at the end of the race, so we should hopefully get everyone on the podium into the commentary booth for some nice, lovely interviews.
And there we go, Elliot Noren, sorry to cut in, but Elliot Noren, who's changed his name to something I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce, has gotten 4 attempts clear of the rest of the field. I mean, the guy is just on absolute rails around this track right at the minute.
He's certainly a very strong driver indeed in the Alfa Romeo. And I'm just catching Kierbo really aggressively warming his tyres. I don't know if he's on an outlap. I think he's just finished a lap. And he's going to look to come into the pits at the end of this lap. But he's still warming his tyres quite aggressively. You just wonder if he might want to go out for a second lap.
So we got Kigenis, who is on Well, he's not on a flying lap because if he is 4 seconds down, there's never going to be an improvement. I think what we're going to see is a majority of these drivers just sort of head towards the pit and just plan their final run. The drivers who I'm really surprised at the minute, I mean, Vapes is he's got a lot of work to do there, hasn't he? Already P10, and you'd imagine he'll lose 2 or 3 positions more.
Yeah, it seems he could quite.
Oh, and he's gone! Ah, Kagenis has binned it into the barrier, and we rely for it. And there we go. He's just got on the curb, got on the power, and he's BWT'd it in the barrier.
He is a very lucky boy indeed. You can just see it on the replay there. Very lucky indeed.
Yeah, so AJ out at the minute on track. I think this will just be a... well, I mean, at this moment of time, I'd imagine this is just going to be some sort of in-lap. Can't imagine it'd be going again. Seems quite early to be already on a flying lap, you know, getting ready for a flying lap, especially with the traffic that's potentially going to be coming out around when he gets there. So I'm expecting him to dive into the pits here.
Well, I mean, I suppose sometimes it does pay to go out a little bit earlier. You can sometimes miss the traffic if you time it well. I know a lot of drivers do want that clean air just because it takes the edge off, and sometimes, even though you do miss out on a bit of track evolution, you do actually, with that reduction in added pressure, you do sometimes set a faster lap, so it'll be interesting to see what he does. I believe he stayed out.
Yeah, he stayed out. He stayed out, and he's got some clean air, so a 134.2. We know that's not representative of his pace, certainly in recent weeks, and that is definitely a representation of his track limits.
Well, I've just seen everyone who was in the pit lane is now not in the pit lane. They're all coming out, just going through the tunnel there. And I think they're all looking to capitalise on the last few seconds of this session. They're all looking to go out as late as possible. And it seems like we might be in for a little bit of a car park going into the final sector of the lap, as all these drivers look to make the most out of this session.
Yeah, absolutely. So Hilly getting out of the way. It doesn't say he's on an outlap, so a couple of these drivers, it appears, are doing a bit of a fuel burn and trying to get into that window. As Hilly's a little bit close to the Aston Martin. I can only imagine it's of... Gamer's out, so let's go on board with... Let's go on board with P3 Almanac at the minute because he's looking quick. He's only he's got to find about a tenth to, well, even half a tenth would possibly, get him ahead of BTA Andy, who's still saying he's on an outlap. So this is early for Almanac. Still 1 minute to go. You can look at the car park in Sector 3 on the map. I mean, there's still a good 60 seconds to go, but yeah, I mean. Mad pack. Yeah.
It's everyone's ducking and weaving, trying to get out of each other's way. It appears to be ruining a lot of people's laps who are not on an outlap. They're trying to bob and weave through that car park, and it's all going downhill for some drivers here. They may not be able to set a representative time.
Yeah, Almanac is a 10th up. Mayaluz has lost it at turn 4. Is it turn 4? Turn 3. Could be turn 3 or turn... I think it could be the exit of turn 3, actually.
Exit of turn 3, and I believe his AI has just taken over there. So I don't know if it was a retirement on track or he binned it into the wall, but remains to be seen.
Well, Almanac's absolutely ruined it, so I'm sure that'll get reported if the the driver feels like he needs to. Let's... as we go on board with PW Jones, as he's coming through Sector 3 now. He's set the quickest middle sector. Just about keeps it within limits. He's got to find a couple of attempts. He's down to P7 at the minute as Ecos Hawkey jumps into P2. That's his qualifying over. He will not get pole position today. I feel like P2 possibly may be under threat from Andy, but Almanac won't be improving. PW Jones could be there for the second row of the grid.
Yeah, BTA Andy, he's just set the fastest Sector 2 of anyone.
we go. It's good to see a Ferrari up there as Elliot Norrin again improves by another 0.2 of a second. What can Andy do? He's got to find at least 2.5 tenths. Can he do it is the question. Does he have the answer? Or is it just another, not quite. He does improve. Let's go on board with Kiabo. No, sorry, Bryson's invalidated. What can Hilly do? Hilly's down by a lot of time. And I think that is qualifying over.
Yeah, there's only Hilly and Almanac who can set a lap, but I don't think Almanac's going to want to have a look at that lap on the replay.
No, I mean, it's a very, very comfortable pole position for Elliot. I mean, he didn't even have to go out again. He did. He improved. But big up to Andy. You know, first race, P2 on qualifying. But we do know that qualifying does not mean anything really. It's all about the race pace. And has he set up for qualifying? Or has he got the genuine pace around this track?
I think a fair assumption would be to make that he definitely does have the race pace. It's just going to be up to the racing gods on whether or not he makes it through turn 1 with his nose intact. But I wish him the best, and I think before or while we're going through the non-existent formation lap, as I believe there is still the glitch that causes some people's tyres to be higher than others. I believe we do not have a formation lap, if I'm correct.
You are correct. Yeah, pretty much as you said, some people get the glitch, some people don't, meaning it's an unfair disadvantage. So, completely off. And, yeah, saying that, I mean, I just wonder if all these drivers are aware. I mean, there's plenty of times it's been mentioned in the group chat, so yeah, they should be fine.
Right, I think, is it time for predictions, do you think?
I think it is. And I'm going to let you go first, because I think mine is going to be
you've caught me off guard there. I haven't.
Mine's going to be a little bit mental.
I didn't quite memorise who finished on pole position and otherwise. So I think what I'm going to do is just wait until I see the grid and then make a very quick prediction as we see the mechanics in the pit lane asserting dominance with the T-pose. Just you'd love to see it.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go. I think Elliot's got the pace quite comfortably. I'm going to go Vape second, and I'm going to go Ecos Orky third. I think Vapes is going to luck into a safety car.
Vapes, I believe, is starting P10.
Something
if
like
I'm
that,
not
yeah.
mistaken. Yeah.
He's going to do a Verstappen.
Oh yes, I'm sure that's not a controversial topic.
There we go. Then we are about to get going here at Abu Dhabi for round 14 of season 11. A contest of speed. It's lights out and away we go. And it's a great start from the Ferrari of BTA Andy, who's already got the lead going in towards Tier 1. Elliot Norrin still P2. It's looks okay. We got a house at the back. He's in a bit of trouble.
All over the place in the back there.
Let's have a look. It's bit of carnage as BTA Andy takes the lead. Elliot Norrin nearly runs into the back of Ferrari, and Elliot's lost 2 positions nearly. We got a spin in Williams. It's is it Kiabo? It is Kiabo. Yeah, it certainly is. And Williams are down by 1. And PW Jones has somehow made it to P2, but his teammate nowhere to be seen.
There is a headline: BTA Andy, the new boy. He is leading the race with a gap of around 4 tenths.
Yeah, nice little move there by Haku going in towards the chicane. Made a move and makes it stay up into P6. He's now challenging Ecos Hawkey around the outside. He's on the medium tire. Of course, he's going to have the grip. Has he got the composure? No, not quite.
He's forced wide there.
He's forced wide, but I feel like it was fair enough from Ecos Hawkey. Really, he did look comfortably ahead at that moment, and yeah, I mean, talk about getting your elbows out. That is, I have to say, I absolutely love that. Whether it was fair or not, I absolutely love the defending.
It's lovely racing on this opening lap. Ecos AJ making the move on Hilly, who's very squirrely into the second to last corner. And it looks, he's pitting. Does he have wing damage?
Well, Mayalas is into P9. Sorry, Vapes is into P9 as he goes around the outside of Mayalas. So, of course, Vapes only joined a few weeks back, but Mayalas, this is his debut as a full-time driver. As we look at Ecos Charlie, looking around to go around the outside of the Haas, completely cuts the curb, and that's absolutely destroyed his momentum as he goes a little bit deep into the hairpin.
Oh, now we have the two Alpha Tauris. Are they going to do team orders? Who's the faster driver at this point? We don't know.
Well, PW Jones has just got the lead, so let's have a look at the stay on board with the Ferraris. He's going for the switchback, heading towards the hairpin, and it's all about straight line speed at this moment.
These are critical corners now. Whoever takes the lead, and it is PW Jones still in front, he's going to have the advantage all throughout Sector 3 before DRS is enabled. Is he going to be able to pull that 1 second before the DRS detection point?
Well, right now he's got the tyre advantage, so he has to make this tech beat. Andy's in a great position. He was on the hard compound. He can go a lot further into the Grand Prix. The pressure's on PW Jones here because he's got to make the strategy work, and now he's got to push, meaning he could give them tyres a little bit too much tyre degradation, pitting a bit early, and Andy definitely looking the more comfortable at this point in the Grand Prix.
Oh, I just saw, I think it was, I don't know if it was Elliott or Almanac, a little bit of front wing just came off there. I think they collided with the wall into turn 1.
Cornish Mantis has had a moment. He's in the pit lane as we're watching Elliott Norrin, who didn't have a great start, it must be said. He was already behind Andy before turn 1. In fact, it was a lightning start by the Ferrari.
I've just picked up Hilly in P17. What happened there? He was comfortably in the midfield. It just seems like he might have had a little moment coming out of one of the corners, and he's now going to be pretty much neck and neck with
Ecos Charlie down the inside. Is he going to make it stick? Yes is the answer. And for now, that is the final point position for the AlphaTauri. Almanac just been passed, and we got a spinner! We got a spinner, and it's Elliott Norrin. Elliott Norrin has lost it on the exit, got a little bit too excited on the throttle, and around he goes.
Oh no, poor Elliott. From pole position to P9, he's now going to be challenged by the AlphaTauri.
Yeah, it's not been a great start, but I mean, still, I wouldn't not discount him. He has got the pace, don't you worry about that. Let's go on board with Vapes. He's only 2 times behind AJ. AJ, of course, started towards, I think, did he start 18th, AJ? Let's have a look at the position changes. No, sorry, he started 11. Okay, so he must have improved on his final run, but Vapes certainly looking the quicker of the drivers. Going to get the DRS, surely. There we go. This should be a pretty simple overtake for the McLaren. And in fact, I must say, I'm a little bit surprised he's decided to go to the inside when he must have had so much more of the outside track.
As you're saying that, Pipetech with a very comfortable move to pass Miols, which I've definitely butchered the pronunciation of. And Kierbo in P14, he's lost out 9 places since the start. He's going to be looking to claw that back over the next few laps.
Yeah, Elliott's just got back into P8. He's battling with AJ, and I think this helicopter's got some wind turbulence or something, or because there's hellish shakes on it. But Elliott back up into 8th. Let's have a look at the gap to leader. I mean, he's only 8 seconds behind the leader. I mean, he's 4 tenths quicker in qualifying.
I just missed that. Kierbo with a lovely move round the outside, I believe, into Sector 3. He's now up into P13.
Yeah, well, the battle at the front. PW Jones is certainly making good use of that medium tyre compared to Andy's hard tyre. Let's have a look on the tyres, tyre wall actually. Yeah, so there we go. Hacko and PW Jones both on the medium. It's Andy who's on the hard. We got a spinner. It's Kierbo in the second Williams. But he's back up and running. Of course, the soft tyre, not a tyre you want to be using around here. Unless it's for the final 5 or 6 laps.
It's definitely not. Yeah, I'm just looking at the position changes now. We have Pipe Tech, the biggest winner out of anyone, with he's up 8 places into P11 as eBird is going side by side into the chicane. I believe he's controlled by the AI, so I don't think that's too big of an achievement. Pipe Tech is looking to make another move on AJ, coming into the very wide hairpin.
I think he's already made. I think he's just made the move stick. So we're going to go on board with Elliot, P8 on the back of Vapes. And the thing about being against somebody who's quicker, who's behind you, is you concentrate so much on defending that you just do not close to the car in front. And I think right now it's kind of what we're seeing with the McLaren.
I'm no stranger to that experience. I feel like we need to come up with a name for that. I remember earlier in the season whenever you had Ecos wrapped behind you, Ecos Rappy Tappy, he always distracted you a little bit, and I think that's what the faster drivers on the grid will be looking to take advantage of, is winning that mental game.
There we go. Has left the session.
It might be having some
Oh,
connection.
we got a contact between the Aston Martin and the Alfa Romeo. It was Almanac who clipped the back, and Elliot, the McLaren. Bryson, they all say thank you very much. They're going to have a bit of this action. Almanac maybe picking up a bit of damage. Bryson round the outside into the hairpin. Lovely stuff. Bryson now, big advantage here if he can push on, as Almanac is coming back. But thankfully for Hawkeye, he did not lose too much ground. He just about kept it. We got contact. We got contact here. What is going on? Almanac's had a moment. Not really sure what happened there. And Hawkeye's back up to P5. I mean, a bit of madness there. Almanac's not had the greatest of laps at all, and he's surely going to be going into the pit. Two reserves battling it out here in Alfa Romeo. Tasmania has joined the session. We love to see it. Ecos Charlie has bend it. Ecos Charlie has bend it on the entry to turn 3. It's not normally a track where you'd see that many safety cars due to the runoffs. So it's quite.
Seem like
yeah,
we're gonna have a safety car at the moment either.
Yeah, so it's green conditions. And this time, Elliot does get a good run, and this will be a pretty simple move. In fact, Hawkeye not even battling it, but he does want to get ahead of that McLaren. And in fact, it's Vapes who is having a look down the inside. And that just shows you the power of the DRS, doesn't it? He goes from P5 to P7, but he's fighting it back.
Really out there.
He's fighting it back. It's good battling between these. I don't think there's too much between the pace of all three. I mean, maybe Elliot's a bit out of the these guys' reaches, but certainly Vapes and Hawkeye seem quite equal. So has lap 8 of 29. We've got a yellow flag. It's Cornish Mantis. And who's impressed you so far in this Grand Prix?
Well, I think everyone's impressed me, but not least of which, or certainly most of which, is CLR Pipe Tech. He's up 10 places from P19. He is now in 9th, and I would not put it past him to be challenging for a good points-paying position here. I think everyone definitely has impressed. Hako is now in the podium places, up 6 places. And if I'm being honest, I wouldn't put it past anyone to win this race. You never know what might happen, especially with the tradition of safety cars around here. There's not too many safety cars, but when they do happen, they certainly shake up the order. So I wouldn't put it past anyone to claim a win here, but it certainly seems like PW Jones is still the favourite.
PW Jones the favourite. Well, 1.6 is the difference to the Ferrari. different tyre strategies, of course. And I tell you what, I mean, despite all this battling for P5, Elliott hasn't lost too much ground to the leaders. And he is on the harder compound in comparison to the leaders, so he will come back in the second half of this Grand Prix. So yeah, do you know what? I still fancy him to get a podium, even at this point.
Oh, apologies for the technical difficulties, but I can still commentate. I may just be a few seconds behind as I'm having to look at the stream. But yeah, it's certainly been an entertaining race so far.
I've got another spinner, and this time it's Hacko. Yeah, Hacko's had a moment. And that's trapped him. You were just talking about him running in the podium positions. Well, he isn't running there no more. He's had a moment. And that's definitely one of the trickiest points on the circuit.
I wonder, does it still count as the commentator's curse if I'm not in the lobby?
Well, I'll give you the credit. I mean, that's fine.
Well, I suppose I can claim that on my record.
I wouldn't say that's a hacker, though. He might not be too impressed.
I don't want any more angry DMs from people whose races I've ruined.
No,
absolutely.
Absolutely not. But he's just made a spot up against Almanac. I think he's trudging around with a little bit of damage. Certainly looked like it when he was battling with Hawkey and Vapes. Yeah, and I think you can just see it ever so slightly in the corner. He's just running. It just looks a little bit understeery, a little bit, it doesn't point.
It just seems that Cornish Mantis has called it a day. I think he's just retired in the pit lane after a collage of spins.
Yeah, he's well within his right to do so. There's a battle going on for the final podium spot. And we got a yellow flag. And that's because we've had a spin. No, someone's going out the pits. That's Cornish Mantis' car coming out the pit, even though he's retired. So nothing doing that. And I tell you what, Bryson doing his best job to hold up the field here. Elliott Norin, here he comes. Alfa Romeo versus Alpine. And a nice little move, and now he can set his sights on Andy, who's just a little bit ahead. Guinness has spun it on the exit turn 3. And yeah, I'm surprised quite a few of these drivers struggling with the circuit.
It's certainly, I would say it's due to the bumpy nature of the curbs, especially with these stiffer cars. It's not one of those tracks that's awfully forgiving, especially in the medium to high-speed corners. With these now old tyres, I should say, they're certainly going to be struggling for grip. But until that pit window comes, they're just sort of going to have to stick it out and pray that they don't get passed by anyone who is on either fresher tyres or managing their tyres better, which I think will be a very, very important objective of this race, especially coming into the realm of the pit window.
Yeah, just thinking about the pit stops actually. What is the sort of pit window for the mediums? Because there are a few drivers, like PW Jones, on the medium. So wanted obviously a quick start. Are we talking sort of lap 15 or is it before that?
Well, I'd say the mediums could definitely go the distance. I think it's more of a matter of will the tyres be effective at such a wear percentage, as Almanac is looking to make the move on Hacko there. Does he make the move?
He does. He did make the move. Guinness has been, well, he's retired in the pit lane, so fair play. That's perfectly fine. Not had the best of races. He'll go away. He'll come back again next week. In fact, I don't actually know what the track is next week.
I'll just go and check.
Yeah,
I believe it is Imola.
Imola. So yeah, that's I don't think you could have such a complete different track as Imola and Abu Dhabi, but
They're certainly harsh on the tyres, and
yeah.
they're certainly tracks that aren't the easiest to pass, but they're very technical, very front heavy, and STLR also choosing to retire in the pits.
Yeah, he's not had a good night, but again, another driver who will come again.
Have a yellow in sector. Oh wait, no, never mind. That's Cagnus choosing to retire in the pits.
I think it just shows you the power of the DRS, the fact that these four, they're able to keep with Elliott because of the nature of the DRS, rather than, but when Elliott was behind, you could see that he was comfortably quickest, and yeah, I think that's such an evident little piece of evidence that, being second in a DRS train is perfectly fine, but being fourth in a DRS train, that's just an absolute race killer.
Yeah, it definitely is, especially when the car in front of you has DRS as well. It makes it a real pain to overtake. But I just get the feeling these hard tyres are going to start to become a little bit quicker. So I feel like PW Jones... Oh, as I see Elliott go very wide.
Hawkey's had a moment. Hawkey's had a spin.
The two Alfa Romeos both having handling issues there. And I think we have the first person jumping into the pits, and that is PW Jones. He is on the hard tyre. Ooh, Hawkey's retired in the pits. Never mind. That's not as big as a climax as I would have thought. I think he's just decided to call it a day.
Yeah, well, he's just had a spin. So obviously not. So like I say, drivers have the opportunity. They don't have to. They're not forced to stay in the race if they're not enjoying it, or they just had enough. It's an unfortunate part of online racing.
Yeah, they're well within their right to retire in the pits. It's definitely a frustrating experience when you feel like you need to. You always want to feel like you can get back into it, but when there really is no chance to get back into it, then sometimes you want to call it a day and move on with your life and look forward to next week.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if these hard runners could potentially go long into this race and check on a set of softs around lap 20, lap 21, as Mayaloz has had a spin. It's not actually Mayaloz, it is Hilly. So he's not having the best of Grand Prix himself. He'd definitely be learning a few things ahead of his EU1 race on Thursday as he gets back on the track.
PW Jones.
Yeah, he's just passed Pipe Tick, who's gone into the pit lane. It was actually a very good pit stop for Jones, because he's come out in complete clean air. He's got no problems ahead of him, and it's just about his lap by lap pace. And already he's gained 3 attempts on Hako just on a few corners alone.
I've just spotted Pipe Tech as well going into the pits. He's just about to be overtaken by, or has been overtaken by AJ, who's still quite a few car lengths in front. Almost 7-8 seconds ish.
Oh, Babe's just had a horrible exit off the chicane, and that was a real sign that these tyres are just starting to go now. And possibly we're at that time where the medium has had enough and they can't hold it together no more. Chuck on a set of new boots, new set of hards.
Yeah, you can't imagine they want to continue for much longer. You can see on the screen the dark patches on the inside of those tyres. They've been worn and torn and stressed all throughout the first 14 laps of this race there. Yes, Vapes does jump into the pit lane. I think he's had enough of those tyres, just wants to get them off.
Yeah, he certainly is. I'm interested to see how close, how far ahead Jones is to the Alfa Romeo of Elliott, because it's now Jones on the hard and the Alfa on the medium. So I think this is going to get real close towards the end of this race.
Yeah, the two very quick drivers indeed. One is on the softer tyre, but not necessarily the fresher tyre, especially as we get into the final few laps of this race. AJ is just overtaking Hako, who has decided to pit, and Andrej has also decided to pit onto new mediums.
Yeah, a day to forget for the Haas at the moment. But as long as they're still going forward, they still have a chance. Obviously, anything can happen.
Indeed, anything can happen. It's not out of the realm of possibility for a late safety car, and if that is the case, then maybe some of these hard runners, like Chiabo especially, running in P7, he might just bank on the fact that there might be a late safety car, which would definitely give him a cheap pit stop, and he might even jump onto the soft tyres to try and make a few moves to try and scrap back a podium place. It's all theory crafting until something does happen.
What happened to Andy? Because he's 2.5 seconds behind Bryson.
I think Andy's had a fairly solid race, if I'm being honest. He's kept his nose clean. He hasn't been fighting a whole bunch.
He has, but he was comfortably ahead of him. I think he's had a moment somewhere and he's just like had a spin or something.
Yeah, but I don't think... Well, we didn't see any close battling, so maybe...
Well, look, Elliot's gone past him. And Elliot was comfortably behind him, so he's definitely had a moment.
He might have needed a replacement wing in a pit stop, or I suppose we just don't know.
No, I was on board with him when he was doing it. He definitely didn't have a new wing. Unless my eyes deceive me, but 5.1 seconds, the difference between Jones and Noren. And it's only going to come down. It's just a question of, can those mediums get to the end? And will they have enough performance? Like I say, PW Jones's tyres will come back towards him the last few laps. It's just about what can he do for these first sort of 10 laps is the crucial time.
Yeah, I just want to highlight Ecos AJ in the Merc. He's on 10-lap old mediums, which I would not like to believe would make it to the end of the race, though, unless he pulls some driving witchcraft. I can't imagine he'd make it to the end of the race. It seems... Oh, good lord. I should really...
Oh, you absolutely murdered him, and this is perfect for the race leader. Because he's on the hard tyre, he'll go onto the medium, and I think he'll come out ahead of Elliot, but behind PW Jones. PW Jones definitely is going to have to pit. He cannot get this close to the... He can't let everyone catch up and be on the hard tyre. He'll just get absolutely swamped. So, I think Elliot will stay out, but I think the top three will pit. And there we go. I mean, we were talking about the Haas's being absolutely nowhere. And yet, they're going to get up to the back of everyone. And, yeah, you never know. You never know. Shit track, AJ. Well, I mean, it's not for everyone. And there goes Bryson. He will strap on a new pair of mediums. I fully expect P2 and P3 to follow suit. There's P2. There's P3. Elliot surely go past the pit lane. As he does. PW Jones. Oh, and Elliot Noren has decided to pit as well. Something a bit of a surprise. And PW Jones picked up a third warning going into the pit lane. And Vapes picked up a 5-second penalty. So this is extremely open now. 3 seconds for PW Jones, 5 for Vapes, and that's going to kill him. Bryson takes the lead, and he's there on merit. BTA Andy, P2, Almanac P3. I'll be honest, I did not see this as a top 3 before the start of the Grand Prix.
I appear to have been on mute.
Classic.
I had a whole monologue there. And
Right, that was great in your head, but yeah, we did hear a thing.
Right in my head, and I realised I pressed unmute on the PS5 controller instead of the microphone, so I'll give myself a slap on the wrist. And sorry, I was just about to point out the McLarens of Vapes and eBird in 6th and 8th, respectively. They do not need to stop again, so they are on some quality points. And Pipe Tech as well, up from P19, I believe. He's now in P7, and he does not need to stop again. And those hard tyres, hopefully, gonna last at the end of the race.
Yeah, well, eBird will be disqualified for this. Obviously, he's had his he left the session due to connection. He basically hasn't raced, so he will be disqualified. So that you know, I mean, these Hasses who've been nowhere all race might be a little something there at the end of the rainbow.
I think it's all up to Bryson now to get a good restart when the safety car does decide to jump into the pit lane. And it's not the hardest track to do a restart on, because there's only one spot where you can really perform the restart. It's a very short straight into turn 1, so unless you make a rather large error, I can't imagine that anything bad's going to happen.
Yeah, well, PW Jones certainly giving his tyres enough heating up, man. I mean, he was the only one seriously doing some waving down that back straight. And I think we're just about to get underway here. Safety car in this lap. Surely we're all joined up. I will give you the honours of calling it, Has.
Alright, so we have Brazin GRC, who is in the lead. He is net P1 as well, followed closely by BTA Andy and Almanac. PW Jones is in 4th, but he does have a penalty, so he's definitely going to be looking for a very strong start with only 10 laps left to go in this race. And we're just going to hopefully go on board with Bryson, who we are on board with, yep. And he's going to be looking ideally as late as possible to commence this restart for the minimum possibility that he'd get past, but I can't imagine that would be the case. Oh, never mind, he's gone fairly early there. And he's made quite a bit of a gap. It's not the hugest gap, it's only about 5/10, but he does lead into turn 1, followed by BTA Andy and Almanac. It all seems fairly clean through turn 1, it's as you were. We have Chiabo going very wide out of turn 1 there. But it seems really clean through turns 3. And,
he's going to do it! He's going to do it for Verstappen! He's going to do Verstappen on Hamilton! He sent it down the inside of the hairpin, but they're out!
Whoa,
they're out!
no.
Oh, there's contact! There's absolute contact!
Oh no, that is the bad ending of Abu Dhabi 2021. That is what we didn't want to see then. It's not what you want to see now. That is... Ooh, there's going to be some choice words. Vapes and eBird, the McLaren in P5 and 6. Oh, that's going to be some... they might need a small coffee after that.
Oh, I tell you what, Chiabo is not happy. You could see it. He instantly left the channel, the game, the lobby. Yeah, that That is definitely go in, have a wander, cool your head, and come back.
It's definitely not one of those you want to look at again. It's just you just hope he's saved his footage so he can send it into the stewards.
I mean, it was a hell of a send up the inside, and then I don't know if he felt like the move was done and come across Andres, or Andres was coming across to cover, and it's just a case of wheels come together and out they go. But my word, that was a huge collision. I cannot believe it hasn't brought out any sort of yellow flag, safety car, or whatever.
Oh, Hako going round the outside into the hairpin. That was an absolutely stunning move. I have to watch my language there. Beautiful move. And is he going to try and make a move on Pipe Tech as well? He's burning his ERS. He's trying to go around the outside. He has made the move, and Hako is up 2 places, commencing this restart.
Never mind that. Let's look at the lead. The lead has changed. Bryson P2 and the up to P1. And Bryson's going to send it down the inside. Oh, he's ever so close. Not quite on this occasion. It is Ferrari P1, Alpine P2, Aston Martin of Almanac still P3 and having a hell of a race. I'm not too sure he'll keep that. Possibly a penalty coming his way, depending on if he's reported or not. As I tell you what, it's hellish close here though. Abu Dhabi, lap 21 to 29, as the Alfa Romeo of Elliott just all over the gearbox of Almanac.
We're getting a lovely helicopter view if you focus on the McLaren of Vapes. Oh, as I say that, it's gone. Thank you, Codemasters. Very cool.
I want to go on board with Almanac because as much as he's trying to attack the cars in front, he's being attacked left, right, and centre from the cars behind. Let's go on board with Vapes though, because he looked like he got a good exit out of turn 3. Now, these drivers so close. It's really entertaining, great to see. And they have pulled away from Hako, but if they keep battling like this, it will bring Hako back into it.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the track map now. We can see 2 trains forming, one being led by Hako, who's a good few seconds behind Elliott. Ooh, Vapes and Elliott.
Oh! Slight wheel contact. Let's go on board with Vapes so you can see it unfold. Is Elliott going to send it? No, he's going wide. He likes the wide approach and get a better exit. Vapes going to have to be careful. Oh my days, nearly takes off his front wing, and I think these guys are playing really, really dangerous. I would not be surprised to see a front wing go or 2. Oh, there's Vapes again. And I think what's deceiving is Elliott likes to take a wide approach into the corners, whereas Vapes likes to take a tight line. So he's just sticking his nose in, and I tell you, one of these days, he's just going to spin him.
You just wonder if he's tuned his setup to be more confident around the wide lines of this track. Maybe he's anticipated that he might have to do a little bit of overtaking, and he's just changed his setup so it's a little bit more confident through those corners. But I mean, you have to give it to him.
Elliott's sending it, and he's making it stick for now. He gives the room to Almanac. It's fair play, and that is the Alfa Romeo up to P3. Hasmania. Elliott is on the move.
Yeah, you just wonder if he wants to make another move. Oh, Almanac looks to be coming back on him. Is he going to send it? No, he isn't.
He is. Well, he is. There's contact. I think it was marginal contact. I think it's, they both lost time. I think it was an unfortunate contact. We got Vapes, who's he must have some damage. He has. He's got a right end plate missing, and he's pulling off. He's letting these drivers through, which is fair enough. Clearly feeling that he can't compete no more due to the damage.
It just seems that if he does stick it out for a few more laps, maybe he goes for pit stop, he could end up with P10 and fastest lap, which would give him a solid 2 points. So you wouldn't like to see him go in the pit lane, but it's completely understandable if he does choose to retire.
Certainly at this point of the race, with only five laps to go, it depends on the incident, doesn't it? If it was a really stupid incident, kind of get it, but yeah, it looks like Almanac doesn't have the pace of this front 3, and this has quickly turned into a battle for the win. between just 3 guys. No penalties for either one.
Elliot looking very hungry here. Is he going to try and make a move into the chicane? Is he burning his ERS? Oh, Brazen also looking down the inside, but he decides better of it. Andy is leading still with 5 laps to go. How long is he going to hold that advantage with Brazen and Elliot just staring him down on these straights? He obviously doesn't have the ERS, but he does have ERS and a tenacious attitude to defend. We'll just see if he can hold on to that P1 or not.
I don't know who's going to win this, and I absolutely love it. It looks like Bryson went a bit deep there, feeling the pressure. Elliot getting such a better line through there in sector 3. You can see it now. Is the exit going to pay off?
Ooh,
side by side. I think Elliot might have to concede this one. Around the outside, no.
Oh, and he goes down the inside.
Oh, what a move from the Alfa Romeo. And I did not expect him to make that stick, but my word, did he.
Oh, that is pure racing, George.
That is class.
Bravo,
absolute
Elliot.
Class racing from the pair of them. Clean as you like. And now he can set his sights on Andy, who I gotta tell you will not be looking forward to this battle coming up.
So whoever says Abu Dhabi's boring.
Well, I mean, certainly we've had some action today.
It's been an incredible race so far. That safety car's definitely shuffled the field a bit.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
don't think people were expecting it. I certainly wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, it's certainly something that the race needed. It was, I mean, PW Jones, he was looking comfortable for a podium, wasn't he? You know, he was a net P1. He had, all right, don't get me wrong, an ever quicker Alpha behind him. But he was under no pressure getting this podium today, and it's quickly turned into a bit of a shit show for him.
Yeah, the championship leaders. He's still going to have a good result. He's still going to get some points on the board, but who's to say if this form continues, he might, might be under some threat from P2. But I can't imagine him losing the championship. He's been strong, if not a little bit unlucky with his positional awareness, I should say. I think the safety car hasn't done well for him, because he did obviously pit just a few laps before, and that has definitely not aided his race in the slightest, but he's shown some good resilience here, and he's hopefully eyeing up Almanac, who's a few seconds up the road. He's certainly not far away from the lead, so we cannot rule out the possibility of something else completely destroying our expectations. Elliot, is he looking for a move? No, he is not. I think he's going to look to go in behind through the chicane, and he's going to look for DRS coming onto the second back straight.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to overtake here. I don't think this is not the lap to overtake. Sit behind, try and get a little bit more ERS, and I'm not going to say, I don't think Elliot will go for it on the last. I think the lap before is when you'll see Elliot pull the trigger. Yeah, just really try and pull away, because another thing that we might see is do you really want to be at the front or first across the DRS detection zone? Will we see a game of chicken? And, we've seen it between Max and Lewis, Max and Charles in real life. So these drivers will be thinking about it.
It's also about who wants to go in front into the chicane, because obviously whoever is in front in the into turn, is that turn 5 or turn 6? I'm not quite sure. The very tight left-hander into the also very tight right-hander. It just seems whoever gets in front into that chicane is not going to have DRS on the second straight, and it's just, like you say, a little game of chicken. Who's going to jump first? And Elliot is pulling to the side. He's definitely going to want to make the move here.
Yeah. And right now, all they're doing right now is playing a little game of chess. There's a little bit of contact going forward with Bryson. Bryson can see it.
Out the exit.
Oh, I thought he was going to sneak on the outside there. And we got a yellow flag. There won't be a safety car.
the vapes, he's lost it out of turn 2 into turn 3.
And it's interesting to see the different lines that they take, isn't it, through that right-hander. Elliot's so much tighter. This sector is definitely Elliot's strongest point.
Yeah, it seems he just might either have a bit more downforce on, which I don't think he does, because he's very quick in the straights as well. He's not losing time. I feel like he's just mastered that final sector, and maybe he's got a little bit of more front bite, maybe sacrificing a little bit of rear wing to get that extra turn in, which is definitely working out for him so far. It seems like he is, well, presumably going to, as you say, pull the trigger. He's definitely going to want to pass either this lap or, well, of course, next lap. You don't want to wait too long. Ooh, they got very close.
Yeah,
there.
I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be this straight where he overtakes him. I think it'll be the next one, because then if he is strongest through sector 3, he can actually get away by at least enough that this time next lap it will be irrelevant.
He's gotten ahead now.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised at that.
I think he's just looking to burn his ERS down this straight. He knows he's quicker in the final sector.
I don't know.
He could very easily pull a second on Andy here if he nails his final sector.
Well, we're on board with Andy now. We're going to see just how quick Elliot is. He goes wide on the entry, gets a much better exit, and what he loses on the entry, he gains back, and then he goes tight. And this sector is where he's been excelling at.
Just update on the gap. It was 0.4 of a second. It's
Look
now
at that.
0.7.
Look at that. That is a hellish sector.
He is absolutely killing it. He could very well be a second ahead going into the first DRS detection point, which we presume is what he was banking on. But obviously Andy is going to be melting his battery to try and catch up. But I'm starting to believe that it may be in vain. He might not be able to catch up. It's all going to come down to this corner.
No, I think he's done it. I think Elliot's done it. He's yeah, that third sector was absolutely mega. The person under pressure now is going to be Andy, because Bryson's got the DRS. Andy hasn't, and Bryson's going to have a double dose of it.
I think he's signed. I think Elliot signed Andy's death warrant here.
He doesn't want to overtake.
Have a little look.
He doesn't want to overtake now. It's this one where he needs to get exit. Is he close enough? Oh, I don't think he's going to get it. It's going to be close, but I just don't think he's close enough. And that'll probably be all she wrote. Well, Elliot, what a race. It's not been plain sailing for him. I mean, he's had the pace, yes, but he had a little bit of contact.
Oh, he had a little wiggle there as well. Oh, who's that? Who's that? It's Elliot. He's just had a little spin. He's 3/10. He's only got 3/10 now.
No, he hasn't. He's 1.6 clear, mate.
Oh, okay, I appear to have a little
There we go. Elliot Norrin crosses the line. As Bryson spun it off the exit. And he's retired before the line. I mean, I know Bryson definitely wouldn't have done that deliberately, let me assure you.
I feel like Elliot did. I feel like Bryson tried to be a bit of a...
No, I think Bryson just lost it.
Elliot certainly was the sportsman there. He came very close to not finishing then, but he does take P1.
I mean...
Bryson, that is... and that is going to give the Haas the final point place.
What have I just seen?
Expected.
What have I just seen?
It's quite bizarre.
I know Elliot's is definitely deliberate, but Bryson would be hellish surprised if that turned out to be deliberate. Yeah, absolutely no answers. We'll get the confirmation of the result as Brendan Lee goes to P1. There we have it. Andy Almanock in the end will get the final podium spot. Yeah, obviously E-Bird will get disqualified, so Maya Loz will go to P9. Bryson will go to P10, and we'll have to see on Vapes whether he completed 90% or not. But my word, what a strange finish Taz.
Was certainly don't see many of them, do you? It's been quite a strange race all throughout. If I'm being honest, there's people you expected to win. Well, aside from Elliot, I suppose. Andy with a very strong performance in his first race. Almanac with a shock podium, I think would be the appropriate terminology to use there. Hako with P4, starting from P9. That's a good result from him there. PW Jones in P5. Pipe Tech he takes P6 after all of that from P19. That is a very strong result from him there. Hilly with P7, you wouldn't have said that after the first few laps. eBird P8, but he will get disqualified, of course. And Maiolos in P9, the final finisher of the race. There was only 9 finishers.
We're going to say about getting Elliot and Andy in, Almanac as well. Yeah, I honestly, I'm lost for words. I'm not sure if we're going to get anyone in for the interviews, but we will try. Right, we got Andy in. Can you hear us, Andy?
I believe he's just muted. I suppose we should wait to see if everyone else comes in to the commentary booth.
To my knowledge, he should be able to speak. So, oh wait, hang on. Let me try that. How's that? Is that working? He's in the commentators room, but there's no sort of volume coming through from him. So I don't know.
Well, I suppose we'll do a nice one-sided interview.
Yeah, well, let's just see who else we can get in. Where's Elliot? Where's Almanac? It doesn't look like we're gonna get any interviews, like, because Elliot isn't joining. Oh wait, hang on. Let's go down to the community one night because that everyone can speak.
Yeah.
Hey, Andy.
Hello.
Hiya, mate. Sorry for that, for the delay.
No problem.
Well, I mean, first off, what a great race. A good qualifying, real strong start. But somewhere in the middle, we don't know when, but you seem to have lost plenty of pace with Bryson. You fell behind, and did you have a spin or something?
Yeah, in that long left-hander, after the back straight, the car just kind of, I don't know. I was just skating out of a sudden, so I didn't really know what was happening as well because I wasn't really pushing a lot at that moment. So I guess the tires just gave up on me in that corner. So I lost a lot of positions there, but under like the final safety car, I just pitted like a lap and a half before, so that worked in my favor again. So we got up there again.
Yeah, well, tonight was your debut race as reserve. Just a quick few thoughts about the general pace that you had in comparison to some of the people you were racing with. Did you enjoy it? And where do you see yourself going forward, sort of thing?
Yeah, I know that this track is probably one of my top 3 worst tracks. So I think the pace is good. I felt comfortable in the race, and with the pace that people were showing, it was good. I saw uh, what's the name of the guy in P1? I don't know how to say that, but he has some incredible pace, and I don't know if I can like compete against that. But at least having some great battles on track with some people was fun, and I hope to have more of those.
Yeah, good stuff. An excellent debut. I was really impressed with your pace, and I'd say definitely look forward to seeing you more over the next final. What is 5 races now left of season 11? So yeah, well done on tonight's performance. Great result, and next week Imola. So hopefully see you there.
Okay, thank you.
So just waiting on Haz to rejoin the comms as he's about to question Elliot. Or has he lost contact? You're alive, Az. I think we're having some difficulties with Hasmania, so it will be me to ask Elliot some questions. Elliot, well done on your, I have to say, a real impressive victory after at least it wasn't swimmingly, was it, the whole race? Because you certainly had to chuck in a couple of quali laps.
Yeah, that wasn't much fun at all. Honestly. The track sucked.
The track sucked. But I mean, what about that finish? I mean, you barely made it across the line.
Yeah, I tried to make it a grand finish, but yeah, it didn't look very well, and
No, it didn't.
it was very sketchy.
It was sketchy. It wasn't as sketchy as Bryson's because he actually DNF'd before the
Yeah,
line.
he failed even worse.
But I'm not too sure if his was legit trying or not. But yeah, I mean,
think he just dropped it.
yeah, so do I. I don't think he's the sort to do that. But yeah, but what about your? I mean, because you had plenty of battles, didn't you? I mean, there was a good battle between you, Vipes, and Hawkeye around sort of lap 12 to 11, or 11, 12, 13, or whatever. Was you always confident of getting through that and catching up to the leaders? Because at that point, PW Jones was about 6 or 7 seconds ahead of you.
Yeah, I was gonna catch him. I thought I wouldn't when I was on the hards, but then I pitted and gained like 1 second per lap until the safety car.
Right, yeah. So it's 2 weeks in a row you've got P1. It's just too easy for you, isn't it?
Maybe it is.
But good fun. Some good racing. Yeah, there was some.
At least I spun to make it more interesting then.
Well, I mean, we were loving it in the commentary. We thoroughly enjoyed tonight's Grand Prix. Something that we didn't expect to say before the start, I guess. But
Well, yeah, I don't think this track is too much for racing on this game.
maybe not.
I think in PSKL we didn't overtake a single car the whole race. Neither me or my teammate.
Yeah,
Just train.
That's yeah, but
But that's PSGL as well. It's
yeah,
a bit tighter.
exactly. We've only been one division on this sort of division. It's going to be easier in it. But a big well done on your victory tonight. Thoroughly deserved. A great performance. And Imola next week. Are we going to see you back for more?
I have no clue.
No.
The team has a few events today as well, but I didn't have to race today. That's why I showed up here.
Okay.
But next week, I don't know yet.
Yeah. Fair enough, mate. Well, anyway, a big well done to our podium guys. Hasmania, a complete legend for stepping in tonight for covering with myself. It'll be Dan as normal next week. Later on tonight, you will have the AM2 division. That'll be PlayStation only. And if you would like to see the previous season's races, head over to our YouTube channel. And they are all there, all 7 tiers. And we will see you next time.